Good evening, I'm Vicente, and Sherman Chow has the night off. Thank you so much for joining us. The battle over North Forest ISD is growing. The school district is facing closure, but hundreds of people are making their voices heard. KHOU 11 News reporter Tiffany Craig was at today's emergency meeting, and she listened to the group's passionate pleas. Tiff, there were a lot of people there. A taxi cab driver is facing charges after a deadly accident on the East Tex Freeway. It happened yesterday near the Lower Copy exit. A Metrolift cab slammed into the back of a tanker truck that was parked in the shoulder of the freeway. 56-year-old Sandra Davis Smart of Northeast Houston and 84-year-old Dorothy Britton were passengers in the taxi cab. They both died. The cab driver, David Wayne Houston, has been charged with 2 counts of criminally negligent homicide. The 56-year-old was injured in the crash. He is in the hospital in fair condition. The outpouring of support continues to grow for 3 children whose parents died in a car accident. We've been telling you how the Berry family got into a crash in West Texas earlier this month. The parents were killed and the children ages 6 through 9 were hurt. Today, friends of the family held the charity Dog Wash. Proceeds will go to the Berry children.
I think that everybody wanted to do something, and so we, tossing and turning at night, it just sort of came about.
There are about a dozen fundraisers planned for the Berry children. We have a list of them on our website, khou.com. Hoping for a home. That's what 17 orphans want, and they'd like to stay in Houston. We were there as they arrived at Bush Intercontinental Airport today. With a rock star welcome, these kids from Colombia landed in Houston filled with dreams and hope.
Ask her how her flight was.
It was good.
Sandra is an orphan. She's one of 17 who have come looking for a family to call their own. They don't speak a lot of English.
No hablo español bien. Muy poquito.
But that wasn't a problem for Paola.
Paola loca.
No, you
Paola
loco.
loca. No, pájaro no loco.
You
No.
crazy.
She's 14 years old.
Gracias. Oh, I love that. Gracias. Oh, beautiful.
Because it's harder to find homes for older orphans, Orphan Hope International is placing these kids with families that may keep them.
We don't know what these kids have been through. We just want to give them open arms and a lot of love.
Little Anna wanted to show a picture of her brothers and sisters back home to her host mom here, Christina Pfeiffer.
We're overwhelmed with all of our emotions right now, so we're very excited.
Organizers say around 550,000 children are homeless in Colombia. For most, this is the first family picture they've ever taken.
1, 2, 3.
Larry.
Many are hoping they won't have to say goodbye.
Because we want you to be happy. Thank you.
We have a link to Orphan Hope International's website on khou.com. Well, some parts of Houston enjoyed raindrops today, but we could always use more. It is so dry out there. Meteorologist Mario Gomez joins us now. Any more rain headed our way, Mario?
Well, not immediately. It looks like our activity to begin here in earnest here across the city, and how cool things will be as the rain falls. That's all coming up in our weather segment in just a few minutes. Stick around. We'll have the complete report.
We will watch the skies. Thank you so much, Mario. A boil water notice is in effect for Highlands in East Harris County. We're told the problem started when a major water line ruptured, and that dropped the water pressure for that community. Now residents are being told to boil their water before using it. This boil water notice will not be lifted until Tuesday, we're told, at the earliest. It took decades, but a local Navyman who fought in Vietnam has finally been laid to rest. Today, funeral services were held for Lieutenant Commander William Egan at Forest Park Cemetery in Webster. The Fort Worth native was killed in action in Vietnam in 1966. His family decided to bury him here next to his sister, and because he trained at NASA. His remains were recovered in 2009 and were finally identified through DNA testing earlier this year. Tonight, 2 brothers from Conroe find themselves at the center of a controversy. A group of students with the Texas Dream Alliance says the 2 are about to be deported. One graduated from the University of Houston. The other is still studying there. Reporter Phil Anaya explains why the protesters gathered in San Antonio. That was Phil Anaya reporting from San Antonio. KHOU 11 News contacted ICE in Houston today regarding this story. A spokesman said ICE does not have any information to offer on this case and asked us to check back on Monday. The clock is ticking down to Casey Anthony's release, and many think she has a tough road ahead of her. In just a few hours, Casey Anthony could walk out of jail a free woman. Authorities have not given any details about when she will be released because of security concerns. Reporter Karen Brown has more on what's next for Anthony.
It doesn't take long for the rain to disappear.
Well, at least it fell in the watershed, as you mentioned
Yeah,
earlier.
we need that to happen more times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, many more.
Thank you, Mario. All right, check this out. A big headache for drivers in the Houston area. This is a live picture from our TransStar camera at the I-10 Katy Freeway westbound lanes at State Highway 99. The main lanes are closed, and that's pushing all of the traffic onto the feeder road there. This section of the Katy Freeway will open back up Monday morning at 5 o'clock. Until then, stay away if you can. The busiest section of one of the world's busiest freeways is the road not being traveled tonight. Reporter Candace Gibson is in Los Angeles, where Carmageddon is underway. Only in Los Angeles. All right, check this guy out. One pig's fight with the spring HOA may soon be over. The latest on Wilbur coming up next. Plus Beyonce's special message to astronauts on the International Space Station.
Who run the world, girls? Who run the world, girls? This song is especially for my girl Sandy and all the women who've taken us to space with them.
All right, you got to recognize that voice. That was Houston's own Beyonce giving a special wake-up call this morning to astronauts on the ISS. The Sandy that Beyonce mentioned is Atlantis mission specialist Sandy Magnus. She and other astronauts spent today moving equipment from a cargo module to the ISS. Now they hope to finish that work tomorrow. We're keeping an eye on it. Atlantis set to make its final return to Earth on Thursday. Hey, get this, an iPad for less than $70. Who wouldn't jump on that deal? Well, Sears says a website was offering the discount today, but it was all a mistake. Just kidding. For a few hours online, shoppers at Sears.com were told they could get an iPad for just $69, an iPad 2. The deal quickly went viral on Twitter and other social media websites. Sears is apologizing, saying the error was caused by a third-party vendor. The deal will not be honored, and anyone who ordered the deeply discounted iPads will be given a full refund, so a big letdown there. All right, the Wizard certainly hasn't lost his magic touch. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 brought in $92.1 million alone on Friday. That sets a new record. Some think the final Potter film could break the opening weekend record of $158.4 million held by The Dark Knight. Some bad news tonight about a popular pot-bellied pig. We've been telling you how an HOA is trying to get Wilbur, the pig, out of his home in spring. Well, Wilbur has since attracted a big online following on Facebook, and his owner has been petitioning to get the deed restrictions changed. The owner now tells us she's gotten another message from her HOA saying the petition will not help, and Wilbur has to go. We are on the eve of a big soccer game. Everybody hoping the U.S. women's team will win tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're looking for World Cup glory. We'll hear from them more in a little bit. Well, the Astros to watch. It's going to do it for sports. Really, those girls have really captured the imagination of a lot of soccer fans here in this country. It's been a fun run.
Yeah, and there's even a coach here in the Houston area who's worked with those girls, and we're going to be talking to him tomorrow and watching that game. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Daniel. A fashion show where the ugliest dress wins. That's coming up next. All right, you got to check this out. Today, some brides-to-be tried their best, well, to look their worst at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Contestants of the fashion show were trying to see who had the ugliest bridesmaid dress. Which one do you think is the ugliest? The winner the winner got free bridesmaid dresses for their own wedding. It was all part of the Houston Bridal Extravaganza going on this weekend, and some tough competition, as you could see there, for the ugliest bridesmaid dress. Who would have thunk something like that was going to happen? All right, that's our time for tonight. We hope you have a good Saturday night. We'll be back here tomorrow. Have a good night.